Welcome to Footsore Vox. Today, we're starting a new format. We wanted to have an interesting video chat. I am your host, Tim Spakowski, and today I have my mate, my buddy, Glenn Kapheim. Hi, Glenn. How you doing?
Outstanding. How are you, Tim?
I'm well. It's pretty hot here where I live in St. Louis. I'm sure it's hot there as well.
Our weather's amazing today.
Oh, too damn hot.
Blue sky, 60 degrees.
60 degrees. It's 90 something here. It's Africa hot. So I wanted to have this episode. Well, first of all, this is like the first official video chat that we've done. So I think it's pretty fun, pretty cool. I wanted people to know who you were and who you are, your history in gaming, in modeling, what you've done in the past and what you're doing now. But most important, I wanted to tell people how important you are to me and that you are a member of FootSore North America. Glenn has kind of been my silent partner for the last 4 years. But you know, when I first started with the Contractor Benghazi range, I think that's when you and I started talking, and that you came to me and we were just talking about ideas. And a friendship quickly grew. So I first wanted to take time to say thank you, for everything that you do. You're definitely my right-hand man, and I lean on you, and it's great to have you there to talk about ideas. We've been very successful with the little projects that we've done and what we're going to be doing in the future. I'm very excited for a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now. But Glenn, let's talk about you what is your history as far as gaming and modeling? How did you start?
Well, let's say my father introduced me to small toy soldiers as a kid, and that went into Britons, the plastic detail Britons, and then it went into buying the 1/32 scale Airfix plastics, and then that went to buying the Osprey books, and now I got to paint these figures, and that started probably when I was 7.
Wow.
And my first military miniature show I went to in Atlanta, my dad took me when I was 12, and I've been to it every single time with him since then.
Wow.
Right? And I'm 50 now. Unless I was deployed, I went to it with him. And now it's grown and grown and grown. And, I've been going to it for years, and now I enter it, got a couple of golds, bronze, silvers for my miniatures, and, started off there. And then I got into the gaming side the 28mm miniatures because I was able to finish them. Be honest, you could get them done without, losing your focus. And I went to the local hobby store here and finally bought my first box of Warhammer figures. And after that, I've probably not painted anything over 28mm since then.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to only do 1/35, 54, 120s. But I like the smaller scale better. You can get it done, really nice looking. You can do cool vignettes and enter in the show, and the vignette's really no bigger than a cigar box.
Right.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah, and you don't lose your sanity. Well, a little bit. I'm sure we lose our sanity.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
Well, what's funny is you mentioned those bigger scales and how we found out that we were actually in the same room together probably 89, 90? I can't remember.
I would say, 19. Oh, man.
Yeah. It was in
1999.
In the early 90s, I thought, right?
Yeah.
So for the viewers who are just listening and watching, where I grew up, within walking distance, maybe 10 minutes from my house, was a game store called Epic Gallery. But there also, within a mall, was a big distributor called VLS, Verlinden Letterman Stock. And Bob Letterman worked there. He was the L in Letterman. He had all the huge dioramas in the display cases that you could see when you walk up to the store. I mean, just big, huge glass walls, and you see these mega dioramas. I mean, these beautiful dioramas. Legacy, that's one of the main dioramas that he's known for, and other things like that. So around that time, there was a conference going on, or actually, was it an IPMS show, figure show?
Right.
And an artist who did a lot for Osprey named Ron Volstead.
Yeah, Ron Volstead, I met him.
Was there, and he was giving a talk, and somehow you and I were talking about that, and it's like, wait a minute, we were in the same room together. So I thought that was kind of cool. It was destiny.
Yeah, I bought a couple of prints from him that day. I have this seal print, and that print, I still have it, and he's got the beret on and the flotation device and the stoner, and that's where I came up with, one of the ideals for one of our seal figures we're doing. I wanted him to look like that.
That's a good. Let's pin that. I hate when people say that. We'll go back to that. Yeah, Ron Volstead. Now, you know what? That would be cool. He would be cool to talk to get him to do some art for us. That would be cool. That would be really cool. The amount of Osprey books that I have upstairs in my library with Ron Volstead's artwork.
Absolutely.
So great. So you're a gamer still today. You say you live in Georgia.
Yeah, I live in Georgia. I live in Savannah. Our local hobby shop is Morningstar Hobbies. Now, it doesn't have the historicals like we'd want. It has more sci-fi. In Georgia, our big store that carries everything from sci-fi to historicals would be Gigabyte Cafe.
Yeah.
But here locally, it's just this. So they only play fantasy or sci-fi, and I usually play Warhammer, Kill Team. I just learned how to do that. That's pretty fun, but I have to say mostly I just like painting the miniatures.
Yeah. Well, and David Finn's the owner of Gigabyte, and he's a great guy. And I actually sell Mortal Gods and other things to him. So I wish I lived in that area. That store this huge, and I'd love to see the Morningstar that's near you. That's good. So you still do a lot of painting then, and it sounds like you're pretty active at your store.
Yeah, I paint a lot of 40K stuff and sell it, and then I paint our brand of figures, the moderns.
Yeah, cool. Well, we've talked about before about getting something going on down there in your store and maybe getting some interest, and that can be a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
Glenn, let's talk about. So you started really young, which is great. That's how I did, and my father got me into it very young. It's neat how the seed is planted.
Oh yeah.
And how we're just bigger kids. We have bigger. I say I'm still a kid. I just have a bigger allowance, and we're able to play with the figures, paint them up. And what's even really cool now is we're actually making the toys that we wanted.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Yeah. To have a concept for the viewers, Glenn and I are on the phone all the time. We're either texting each other or we're on the phone. We have our morning calls or we have our afternoon calls and sometimes mid-evening calls about what's going on. And I can tell you, Glenn is recently with the last group of figures, the latest groups of figures that we've done, he's been the one really steam forging that project. He's the one that's really been directing, working with Stavros, who's amazing sculptor, because I've had to do more of the business side of things here with getting stuff cast, and I've been extremely busy with Luke's APS stuff, and then get the podcast going. So it's just me. Other than the casting company, it's just me. And then there's Glenn. Glenn's in Georgia. I'm here. I'm in Missouri. So you guys are looking at the guy who's responsible for a lot of the stuff that's come out. So I'm very thankful for him. So you got into gaming and painting at an early age. Then you are a veteran, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes. So, of course, reading these Osprey books, fell in love with the military. My dad brung home, I think I was maybe 14. My dad brung home this book, Inside the SAS by Tony Girardi. So it was a pictorial book, coffee table book. Fell in love with it. Knew I was going to join the Army. That was it. Of course, just like you, Tim, love the Brits.
Yeah.
They're my favorite. Anything to paint, it's great. I don't care if it's Waterloo, Roman Britannica, or modern. It doesn't matter. They're my go-to, right?
Yeah.
So I joined the Army as a young man in the infantry, 1987. I did 20 years in that. Did all the leadership positions as an NCO, and then, Did Operation Iraqi Freedom '01. Did that for the initial push. Spent about 13 months over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3 years after that, I retired out with 20. And then I went in Department of Defense as a contractor. Went overseas for a while, teaching mainly, or the coalition forces like close quarter marksmanship, close quarter maneuvers, and then, fell in love with this job that I have here at Fort Stewart, Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm still a DoD contractor.
Yeah, which is really cool because you definitely have a more inside spin than I. I no longer, I'm kind of in tune with it, but not nearly as much as you are, which is great, which helps translate into the units and the figures that we put out today, to make it more realistic and stuff.
Yeah, Google's magical.
Yeah. Especially from the amount of research that is done for the clothing, the web gear, the weapons, the sunglasses, the glasses, the hats. I mean, back panels, everything. So
yeah, those little things is what counts.
Right.
Now, at least for me, because when I look at a 28 millimeter figure, in my head, I'm really designing a 120 millimeter figure with all that character, So
right.
Like our latest SBS guy's got a Sykes Fairbanks knife on it.
Yeah.
Just to add him character, some tradition to him.
Yeah. And he just let some super secret stuff slip out, but
those things happen.
But you know what? We're too excited. We're working on that, so that should be out. No, in Stavros next week.
Yes, true. No pictures for anybody yet, though. They got to wait.
No, not yet. No.
Everybody's got to wait like we do.
No, yeah, you guys got to wait like we do, and we wait with anticipation, and we're constantly talking to him, and I mean, making changes to no, not this pose, no, tighten up a little bit, tuck in that elbow, no chicken arms, that sort of thing. So, or chicken elbow. So, yeah. Okay, so we talked about that, and you're still a contractor today, and you recently made a trip over here to St. Louis. You were able to go over to Fort Leonard Wood, which was really nice. I was there a couple of years after they built the combat town there. That's really good training. So then we were able to meet and discuss, and hopefully we'll see each other soon, in person. So let's talk about one of the first projects we did. Was it the very first one, the Grom Alpha?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, 10 figures.
Was it?
It was 10 figures.
The Grom is 10 figures. That is correct. Yes. Yeah. And we broke it down, though, into two teams.
Right.
Alpha and Bravo. Or Bravo. Right. I don't know if we did that because of our sanity, because of the amount of work, which you did, those figures were digitally sculpted, the main bodies and heads were, but you did a lot more work on those figures to make them the way they are today. So when you were designing those, what did you think about? What was important for you?
Well, on the 3D aspect of it, the figures are amazing, but they didn't have that character that you would have, like carrying the weapon at the ready, what it really looks like,
Right.
So I wanted to add that to it, and by a little conversion, resculpting the arms, putting the equipment we wanted on it. You were able to, nods. We were able to pull off a pretty cool Grom unit. That's really accurate.
Yeah. And if I'm good with my editing kung fu, I'll put a picture up real quick. I've posted a lot. One of the favorite pictures I took was titled "Midnight Stroll," and
yes, that's good.
Those are of the Grom units, but I didn't paint them up as in the camouflage of that. I was watching Sicario 2.
Yeah.
And the very beginning of Sicario 2, the insertion team was moving in. I believe they were in Somalia, I think. And I noticed that they were all wearing the same stuff.
Some black multicam.
And I painted a black multicam for the first time, which was a challenge. It was fun, a little nerve-wracking, because you want to make it right. You want to have it look right, especially at that scale. You want to capture the camouflage, but we're not painting 120 millimeter figures. Thank God.
You have to capture the essence
Yes.
of the camouflage.
Yeah. Right.
That's what you're trying to do, is to convey it at that 2-foot level, that's what it is.
Yeah. Right. And that can be a challenge.
Give me a challenge.
As I am in the process of slowly painting up the LERP team in Tiger Stripe, and
I can't wait to get mine.
The amount of stress, the anxiety that I put on myself. I was gonna be pretty gutsy and do a live video for the first time in painting Tiger Stripes, but I wimped out. I was like, no, I could completely mess this up and have all these people just laugh at me. But so I am slowly working up the nerve for that. And that can be that's part of it, I think, is getting over that mental hill as far as how am I going to paint this camouflage multicam. Well, it's and when I was younger, I thought oak leaf pattern was a challenge, but multicam to me is a lot worse. It's
yeah,
a lot harder. So we did the Grom Alpha, we did Grom Bravo, Yacht Commandos.
Yes, they're Austrians.
Yeah. Why did we do Yacht Commandos?
Well, we wanted to do something Special Forces, European, but with a different weapon than an HK-416. So you had some Styrox done, 3D printed, regular rifle, and then one with the 40-mite mic on it. And we made similar figures, different poses, but very similar to the Grom in uniform. Mm-hmm. And we're able to do something that nobody else has done before.
Yeah, and it was interesting doing the saw.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. We had the 3D printed cement saw.
Yeah.
Grinder saw. Yeah.
That was a challenge because, as you know, we have an idea of design or concept of what it should look, but it has to live on during the printing process. But most important, the ability to cast and produce on a grander scale. It's got to live the production process. So that can be a challenge. So the saw is a little bit bigger, but it's because we needed it to be bigger. We just wanted everything, especially the forward handle. We wanted to make sure that it was a little bit thicker, so then it survives. So it's not some flimsy thing, and then I don't want to, upset people. So, okay, so we did Yacht Commandos. I'm trying to think what we did after that. We did so many because at the same time I was having other lines sculpted by a previous sculptor, and then I think at some point.
I think we did the Urban SAS.
That's right. You mentioned in your introduction your love for the British military, and I don't think I've quite met another person like myself that other than the Brits, of course, who really like the British history, British military history. If you come to my house, you'll see artwork and badges and everything. It's just always there. So we always thought the Urban SAS was really cool. The uniform, the mask, and everything like that. So what was the challenges behind getting that set out?
I think the challenges was, the biggest one was not converting the figures. It was really more getting the helmet and weapons done 3D printed. Yeah. Because the helmet is to me one of the best on the market. It's very cool with the mask. So no one's done that. Mm-hmm. With the Avon mask, protective mask. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was pretty cool, and that's kind of the reason we went that route. But all the poses on it are very action poses. Yeah. They're not a lot of static poses at all on that, and that's one of my favorite sets.
Yeah, yeah.
It's even got a left-handed dude in it. So.
Yeah, that helmet, that was a lot of work to do, and the mask itself was really cool, and I'm very happy with how it came out. Luckily, we have pretty good 3D printers, VisionTech printers, and that are able to produce the high quality that we have. And that being said, that same printer is used for the seals, the Spetsnaz, that we did, the 10-man or actually 11-man unit Spetsnaz team. But yeah, without that, I mean, I don't know how you do weapons anymore. Traditional sculpted weapons, that would be a challenge, and there's too many better 3D digital artists out there that can produce weapons that are in that scale.
And plus, just to keep up with the client's needs, they need to be 3D printed.
Yeah, they do.
Everything else can be traditional, but weapons and helmets, and it really, and then it's better for the rest for me to think that traditional sculpted, so you can get that character in it.
Right. Yeah, and it's also is very interesting for both of us that we understand the feeling. We know how holding the weapon, how it feels, and we can help translate that into, tell the sculptor, no, this is how he should be. This is how his head should be, is that sort of thing. So it's that we try to bring that feeling out into the figure itself, and that can be a challenge. That is quite challenging.
Yeah, it's really more like, please, Mr. Sculptor, can you make these changes?
Yeah, you don't want to upset them.
Sculptor.
No. So we've talked a lot about the different units at a high level, and I think it would be fun to have a segment just on a particular unit. Maybe we can.
That'd be fun.
I don't want to bore the audience, and So the last modern unit we did though is called Task Force Raptor. Before that, we did Team Overwatch, which we had an idea of what we wanted to do, and we had some ideas from a friend of yours who's a consultant for the company as well. And then we went into, let's do Task Force Raptor. So let's talk about Task Force Raptor. What's the story behind that?
Well, we wanted to do a soft unit, that's more in the covert ops, because everybody's got, full figures, fully kitted out. So we wanted no helmets, of course, more character. We wanted low vis, plate carriers, and then their weapons. And we wanted all civilian clothes, right? So they could be used in that environment, not so much as, straight door kicking, but, imagine these guys jumping out of the Jaguar, or the Toyotas, somewhere anywhere from Ukraine to, Africa, anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we wanted to get with that. Give our figure some character. Don't do something everybody else has done. And kind of base it off. We were lucky and fortunate enough, my best friend was in those units for a long time, and he was able to kind of help us with the guidance of the uniforms. And that was great. And then, we kind of each guy is kind of, it's kind of sculpted the way the face of the actual character was and their nicknames. Of course, we won't mention anything like that, but, it's pretty much the real deal.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun, and those figures are a joy to paint.
And Stavros did an amazing job.
The sculptor's incredible.
I mean, my God, the faces are wonderful to paint. I mean, they're just really nice. The equipment, I mean, everything. It's just really cool. Very happy with them. So then we had a decision. Let's get into Vietnam a little bit. There's other companies doing bigger, ranges and stuff. I really don't want to get into that. That's already been done, and it's been done, and it's being done really well. So how can we, as a company, inject ourselves into that genre, into that period? And we thought the best thing to do would be small units, small special forces units. The first unit that we did are the LURPs, right?
Yeah, great figures.
Yeah.
Once again, Stavros nailed it.
Yeah. We wanted to do something different with the weapons, and we can go more into that later down in another episode. But real quick, because a lot of people were looking at the weapons and go, what is that? What is that guy wearing or carrying? One of them was the Swedish K, right? The chopped RPD. A friend of mine had asked me if we could do a chopped RPD. And I said, right, mate, got it. So we had one made, you know, um, and that's one of the cool weapons. That I'm very happy with how that weapon turned out. The
It
Swedish
looks great.
K, the Swedish K I had to do because when I was working in IT for a company years ago, one of the guys I used to support, he was a major in Green Berets in Vietnam, and I had asked him, "Hey, what did you carry?" And he says, "I always carried a Swedish K. I ran around in pajamas." And those teams, he apparently did a lot of stuff. So that was an ode to him. Um,
Well, since you said that, the LERPs that we did, I mean, they got the Rux, they got the Car 15s, they got Swedish K, they got the chopped down RPD. All those will be great to also be painted as SOG figures if the guy don't want to make them LERPs. It can be whatever they want to be.
you know what? I'm glad you said that. That's cool. That's right, because we that and the new set that is hopefully should arrive on my doorstep today from Greece, and which is the seals.
Oh yeah, brilliant, even better.
Mm-hmm.
They just get better and better.
Yeah.
Because that's the first Vietnam figures I've ever seen with the Stoner.
Mm-hmm. That was a challenge, and
yeah, but it looks great.
Yeah, I think I'm very happy with how it turned out. And again, we go to the importance of the thickness of the weapon itself to make sure that it can survive. Yes, we have the Stoner in there. I'm trying to think what other. We have 2 Stoners in that squad, don't we?
Yeah, two Stoners, one Car 15 or XM177, and one XM177 with the old school grenade launcher under it.
Yeah, which is cool. And the chopped blooper.
The chopped blooper, yes. The platoon leader, the lieutenant's got the chopped blooper. That's correct.
That was a happy accident. That was not the intention for that at the time.
We lost our hush puppy in mailing. Yeah, our suppressed Smith & Wesson hush puppy got lost. So on the table, the artist had a M79. We said, just chop it.
Yeah. I guess I got to blame the gremlin.
I actually like it better.
It's cool, and it's perfect because we're going to use the chop blooper for Syria and other things, so absolutely. It works. It should arrive in my hands today, so then that means I'll take it to the casting part, and those guys will get the molded and cast, and so. Well, we talked a little bit about the SBS, so we're very excited about that.
Incredible.
There's other people, as of even today, in the Footsore Vox Facebook podcast group, was asking, what are we doing? What are our plans? Are there rules? Is Footsore coming out with rules? The answer is yes, we are coming out with rules. The question is when? To be determined.
That's right.
We're both the Footsore North America HQ and Footsore UK HQ are extremely busy with other efforts going on. So, yes, we're coming out with a set of rules, and that's about as far as I'm going to go with that.
Yeah, if this wasn't their full-time job, we'd be on it.
Exactly.
Turn around, be quicker.
Yeah. So I think then towards the end of the year, that's it then, for as far as moderns. I can't think of.
Yeah, I think the last set that will be dropped for moderns until the New Year's, I believe, is the seals, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the last one.
Right.
Anything after that, it's up to their imagination of what we do.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm already excited. We already are in the works for next year. We're already working on things. Not necessarily modern warfare, but we're definitely working on a big thing right now, and I'm very excited to start to talk about it, but it's hard for me. So thankfully, I can call you and say, okay, I just need to vent and talk to you about this, so then I can say I told somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and all those people on the waiting for the modern, super modern SBS, somewhere overseas, we'll say, somewhere over the water, but modern. They're gonna like them.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be completely sculpted, and we'll have detailed photos of them by probably a week for the
I'd say
rest
a
of
week.
them.
I'd say a week.
The guy's too fast.
Yeah, I know. And I'm very excited because what we're doing, they can be used for many different units. So I'm very excited. And, I tell you what, literally there's a guy overseas every day asks me for that. And I cannot wait to be able to say, yes. And here they are,
I
Um,
get it. I get
yeah,
it. I'd be the same way.
I'm the same way right now,
We've
and
been
I know what's
talking
going
about
on.
doing these figures in this part of the world since the beginning.
Yeah, right. Yeah, believe me, I'm excited, and we know what's going on, and that's the hard part. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, God, I can't think of anything else in this time that we have. I really thank you for taking the time to sit on a Friday and talk about this and have this interview. I hope everyone enjoys it, and please leave any comments in the Footsore Vox Facebook group and tell us what you think about it. And we're going to change some things up. I had a glitch with my background, and we overcame and moved on. But really, if there's anything that you'd like us to talk about, if you're interested more about learning on the units that we've done, please let us know. Please like and share. I'm posting this video in the FootSore North America YouTube page, and the link will be there as well, so you guys can watch it. But let's see. I know I'm digressing here. Yeah, just tell everyone about us. I do appreciate it. Glenn, thanks a lot for taking the time again. Do you have anything else before we go?
Yeah, no worries. Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Probably I'd like to do this if we can at least once a week.
I think that's good.
Yeah, and then that will help let people know who we are, and also I'm curious to see what people's comments are and what questions they might have. That can help us put us in a direction and find a need. That's the thing about us, is that we find a need and we fill it. That's really the whole idea behind this. Is neither Glenn or I. We don't have to do this. We're doing this is because we're passionate about the hobby, and we want to help bring these miniatures to your table so that you can play. So that's what we run off of. It's just helping, just making a difference. It's our turn, because I know for myself, I grew up in the hobby or as a gamer, and seeing the people that are my age now and your age now as influences. So we just want to just help make a difference and have fun doing it. That's the most important thing, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, Glenn, listen, I'm sure I'll talk to you later on today. Thank you again for your time, and thank you everyone for listening and watching, and please share.